Hello again, welcome. We have arrived at what is today the 31st day of our 40-day Lenten season, which means we are closing in on the Holy Week of the year. And as you all understand, it's the great celebration of our salvation spread out over those pieces of Holy Week. It begins with the triumphant entry of Jesus into Palm Sunday celebrations in Jerusalem, and it celebrates his presence in this place to accomplish our salvation. So the church invites us to pick up a palm branch and kind of enter into the celebration of Christ and follow him and enter into this holiest of weeks and these events of our salvation. It points us then to the Chrism Mass, which the bishop will celebrate on Monday of Holy Week. And we will get together, the priests of the diocese, and renew our commitment to be in the service of God's people in the Diocese of Lincoln for another year, particularly in the celebration of the Eucharist. So it's a big deal, and we also celebrate priests that are celebrating 25 and 50 and 55 and 60 years of ministerial priesthood, the service of the people of the Diocese of Lincoln. It's a great celebration. The 3 days of our salvation are what they call the Triduum, means 3 day. And they are Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter, particularly the Vigil on Saturday. They each have a particular invitation for people to be involved with the same things Jesus did in that first Holy Week, which on Holy Thursday included the washing of his disciples' feet. This year that's been kind of nixed for COVID issues, so we will still have, however, the procession with the Blessed Sacrament from the altar of Mass to the altar of repose. And we will remember Christ's invitation to his disciples to accompany him out to the Mount of Olives and to stay awake with him for 1 hour. So after the 7 p.m. Mass of the Lord's Supper, there will be a procession, and then the Blessed Sacrament will be exposed over at the altar of repose, right where the St. Joseph statue is, until midnight. And then Good Friday is that single day of the entire church year when the Catholic Church does not celebrate Mass. It's a celebration, however, of our share in Christ's victory on the cross by the veneration of the cross and the reading of the Passion. Again, this year, because of COVID issues, we won't be inviting people to come forward and kiss the cross, but they will be invited to come forward if we can kind of do that cautiously and with a little distance from each other. With a mask on, we'll just invite those who'd like to come forward, and you can either genuflect or make a bow or just pause for a moment and remember the meaning of our salvation. It's called the hour in John's Gospel. It's the hour in the entire history of the human family, and it occurs when Christ makes that gift of himself on the cross. It's a gift of life, his Father and the Spirit and the Son's kind of life. And we celebrate that hour of our redemption, particularly in that mystery of Good Friday. There's, of course, we're never together when we don't remember that he has conquered death, and he is still among us and accessible to us in communion. So the Holy Communion part of the Good Friday service is very important. We then end that night in silence as we kind of await the great celebration of the Easter Vigil. It begins at 8:30. Holy Thursday, Good Friday are at 7. Begins at 8:30 and includes the lighting of a new Easter candle and the renewing of our baptismal promises for another year to be those who reject Satan and all his ways and we'll live out our belief in God the Father, the Son, the Spirit, and His church. And then we'll celebrate the Eucharist. It's got great readings. The history of our salvation is proclaimed in word and in sacrament. Also includes the reception of these folks from our RCIA class who are being baptized and or received into the Catholic Church. It's pretty decisive hour, not just for Jesus 2,000 years ago, but for them as they enter this mystery of Christ in the sacramental life of us as Catholics. And it's such an encouragement to us every year to join in their enthusiasm about becoming a practicing Catholic in the world of today. The Easter Masses are the regularly scheduled ones, and we'll renew our baptismal promises at each of them, 7:30, 9, 10:30, and 12. Might add that this year, because of our just kind of social distancing restrictions, we've got every other pew roped off, and when the church is full, we'll invite people, if we have more people than a church full. We will kind of funnel them down to the gym where we are live streaming Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and the Easter Vigil as well. So if there are people that would like to be in person attendance, you're most welcome here. Once we're at our number for capacity in the church, we'll just direct folks to the gym, and we will bring the Eucharist and the invitation for people to venerate the cross there as well, so that we can do this carefully and respectfully. Thank you again for cooperating with all of that. All of that information should be accessible to you on our website, on the Facebook page, in the bulletin, flock notes, all of that. So again, we're about to begin the holiest week of the year, but it really just is the beginning of a 50-day celebration of being an Easter people with whom the risen Christ has pledged to stay. That's who we are as the church. So come and join us for any of that or all of that Holy Week festivities that we kind of got robbed from last year. It's the weirdest Easter ever. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Holy Saturday without people. So come join us. As you make this kind of step back into folks being with us here physically, again, we just ask you to be careful and cautious and respectful of each other. Thank you very much for that. I'd like to just add this little piece that today happens to be the day that Oscar Romero in El Salvador was celebrating Mass, and because he had spoken out against the oppression of the government, especially against the poor, they burst into his cathedral in El Salvador, and they shot him to death while he was celebrating Mass. Happened to be kind of ironically and maybe providentially at the offertory of the Mass. When we offer up the gifts of bread and wine, he offered up the gift of himself for the truth of God's message and the complete confidence that his death for speaking the truth would only lead others to the truth. And he gave his life for it. So Saint in the making, Oscar Romero, pray for us. And I wanted to make sure, in the name of the parish family of St. John's, we say out loud that we are so grateful for the 8th grade parents that worked for months on our endowment dinner that had to be so creatively redesigned this year. And I want to thank all the people that put in all those hours of work, particularly our 8th grade students who we're super proud of. But it makes me proud to be a part of St. John's because there were so many people that came out, and I think we've all been craving a time to just be able to be together again. And so we had a great turnout. Even though we didn't have a inside endowment dinner, we had the food trucks here and people stood in line, and then people were able to chat and visit while they got their food, and we spread out out in the plaza and out in the parking lot, and the whole thing was handled so well, and it was all cleaned up, and the place was completely put back together by 8 o'clock. So it was an honor to be associated with it, and I want to thank you, Carmen and Jen, that headed it up for the 8th grade parents, and all the participation and support. St. John's is blessed. The live auction piece of it is still available online, and that runs till noon on Saturday. So if there's something on that little list of things they've got available and that you'd like to bid on, those are all able to be done online. And I think you just have to punch that little barcode or a little scan thing, and it'll take you right to that website. And we will have a number once we have that auction completed. But it's really, and most importantly, not about the money. It's about us as St. John's celebrating St. John's, and in particular our St. John's School 8th graders. I want to make just the last little comment that on Saturday or tomorrow we will be celebrating 1 year since my first fireside chat. So you have all survived me on video for a year, so you don't have to do any more suffering for Lent. Thank you for staying in touch with us through this particular medium. Thank you.